In Beverly Hills, they have nothing on our nation's capital.
Washington, D.C. is America's new boomtown. We traditionally think of the nation's capital as a town of museums and monuments, but increasingly, Washington, D.C. is a town of luxurious living. This is a town now where you can buy Italian sports cars, Ferrari, Lamborghini, Maserati.
We are a destination, and the location borders two wealthiest counties in the United States of America. So it's Loudoun and Fairfax County. So we have a lot of customers in this area who can afford our cars, and we don't need to advertise. When you get a complaint from the factory, complaint is you have too many cash buyers. Because usually the other way around, some people are trying to reach, with their income so they can qualify to buy a product. In our case, they can very comfortably afford it and pay cash.
Or if you prefer fine wine, that's available as well.
They are interested in award-winning wines. They know what they're looking for.
A lot of wineries have to make kind of like a throwaway wine, but we can't sell that kind of wine here. They like the higher-end stuff.
You have restaurants opening everywhere, especially from New York restaurateurs to Vegas restaurateurs opening in this area because business is steady year-round.
Washington, D.C. is a town that is unlike the other boomtowns of America's past in that the luxurious living that's afforded here doesn't come from its own creation of wealth, but it comes from extracting wealth from the rest of us. When other towns created automobiles or beef cattle for American consumption, it made them a boomtown. But the luxurious lifestyle that Washington has today, which is comparable to Beverly Hills or Wall Street, is very different because that wealth creation is really wealth extraction from the rest of us. In Washington, D.C. today, there's a game being played, and there are always winners and losers. But the reality is that when that game is played, it's played with our money, and we're the ones that end up paying for it.
And we continue with Peter Schweizer and Steve Bannon. So wait a minute, they have too many cash buyers and they don't have to advertise.
Yeah.
And that's for what? What's the average price? Is that a Lamborghini dealer?
Yeah, Lamborghini and Ferrari. So you've got cars.
Maserati.
Maserati. These, you take your pick. These are cars that are, say, $325,000, and they have cash buyers. Look, Sean, we don't fault.
And no shortage of them.
That's exactly right.
Although you're right. I'm not begrudging people, but this is all connected to this, frankly, corrupt. Can we just call it what it is? Corrupt economy.
Yeah, it's extracted money. They're not creating a product that people are freely choosing to buy. They're selling access or they're selling connections and relationships. And so we don't fault the businesses that we highlight here because they're just earning a living like other people are, but it's the system and the corrosive system. And here's something to think about, Sean. We used to think of when JFK and his family was in the White House, it was Camelot. They brought their wealth from the rest of the country to Washington and created glamour. A lot of the glamour now is people coming to Washington with no wealth and making it off of government and buying $325,000 sports cars and paying cash for it.
We've come a long way from ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. In all seriousness here, they're all in this for themselves.
When the average price of a house is $180,000 and a guy's sitting there going, we don't have to advertise, and guys walk in here, unlike in Miami and Los Angeles, and they can pay cash, it shows you that the wealth and the luxurious lifestyle of the rich and powerful has metastasized. And you can look at that anywhere you go in Washington. You see the fine restaurants, which you can't get into, the nicest boutiques. I mean, if people...
I don't go there, Steve. I'm just an observer. Steve. I've never been to one Washington Correspondents' dinner, Steve. So, but no, you're right.
I tell you what, the reason you don't go down there because you don't like that whole system and how it's set up.
I don't like the whole scene.
And I think that we have to start looking at this with a jaundiced eye. This thing is out of control. It's what the founders never wanted. They never wanted cities like Paris and London and Rome that extracted all the talent, extracted all the wealth to one central location. But that's what you have today.
But what's I guess so sinister, it's not like they're producing products that people can buy. For example, a traditional boomtown, let's say it's an oil town. All right, so a lot of jobs associated.
Silicon Valley.
People making Silicon Valley is another case. Gold Rush, we want to go back a little further.
Yes.
You can literally pinpoint what they're doing.
and they're making people's lives better.
Yeah.
You know, you've got cars, you've got beef in Abilene, Texas. Washington, D.C., it's really extraction. And to show you how bad it is, Sean, actually Lamborghini's North American headquarters, it's not in Beverly Hills, it's not in New York, it's in suburban Washington, D.C. That's actually where they put it. This is where they see the growth taking place. This is where they see an opportunity to make money in a way that they aren't going to anywhere else. And that is extremely troubling.
You know what? I guess the problem with for the poor average American that works hard, plays by the rules, pays their taxes, obeys the laws, all these things, raises their kids, their biggest problem is, I guess, they're not buddying up to people, buying the right people an expensive bottle of wine and taking them out to dinner and wining and dining and saying, listen, I need your help on this bill.
Yeah.
I need a provision here. Can you help me out?
Yeah.
And that's what's happening, and they're all getting what they want.
Yes, no, that's exactly right. You know, if middle-class Americans could hire lobbyists, their lives would be better. But, of course, our system would be bankrupt by now. So this is the challenge. It's a zero-sum game in Washington, D.C. The success and wealth of Washington, D.C. doesn't create wealth for the rest of the country. It sucks it up. Yep. So we need to recognize that because Washington is a boomtown, that is bad news for the rest of the country. And until we do something about it, until we sort of cut off that supply or reduce it, it's just going to get worse.
All right, stay right there. We're going to come back. We'll continue more right after the break. Stay with us as Peter and Steve do as well. Straight